Hello, welcome to Bourbon and a Baby. My name is Jay. This here's Max. Max is just going to be here for a minute for this intro. Max, can you say hi? You wave? You wave? He's not feeling it. So this is a series that's called Talking Bourbon and Babies and today I have a special guest. His name is Dave from the Game Cave on YouTube. He also has a podcast called TableTop Warriors. So we're going to bring him in here. So welcome in, Dave. Oh, I have you muted. There we go.
And I didn't like the first time anyway. I sounded weird.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's always good to have that practice run, right?
Yeah, so that was a practice run.
Right, right. So, all right, Max, say hi to Dave.
Hi, Max.
Say bye to Dave.
Bye, Max.
All right. See ya. Max is out of here. All right. So, like I mentioned, yeah, this is Dave from the Game Cave YouTube channel. Dave, you want to go ahead and kind of introduce yourself? Tell us about your channel.
Yeah, so I'm David Lee. Actually, my full name is David Lee Pontius, but I'm going by the stage name of David Lee. I don't know. It's something I came up with. Anyway, so the Game Cave is pretty much an introductory course to some board games. I don't claim to be a professional board game professional, I guess. But I do like to play board games, and I like for people to enjoy the board games. So I try to teach at an intermediate level, if that makes sense.
Cool, yeah, totally.
There's been many a times where I've played board games that have flown over my head, and I'm like, yeah, there's got to be an easier way to explain that. So that's kind of what I do on the channel, is figure out the easiest possible way to show and how to play the game.
Cool.
So that's what we do over the Game Cave. We also got other than the gameplays themselves, we do a segment called Kicking It with Kickstarter, where we talk to creators who have created board games, and we play that game with them so they can maybe go over a little bit of their inspiration to the game and how to play it and stuff like that. And lastly, we do DIY projects on our channel, which I don't have any up yet, but we are working on a few, and hopefully when those get up, those will be exciting, actually.
Cool. So. Awesome. So you're also, the reason that I wanted to have you on this show is because you're also a dad.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yes. I forgot all about that.
No, definitely. So tell us, you have a daughter?
Yes. So Emerson Harper is her name. 3 years old. She is a handful. Let me tell you that.
Nice.
I remember when I was younger, my mom said to me, and she cursed me. She said, when you have a kid, I hope she acts just like you. Oh.
And the curse came true.
Yeah, except times 3, I think. So.
Nice.
Yeah, but no, I wouldn't. I couldn't do anything without her right now.
It is amazing. It's such a cliche, but because I went a long time without having a kid. You know, I was a little bit older when, you know, Max just turned 1, and you'd never quite understand how different things are once you do have that kid. Like,
oh yeah.
And it's not something anybody can tell you until you just actually experience it for yourself.
Agreed.
Just, like in all different ways, just how much, I don't know. It's hard to even put into words.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. You're right.
And we're also going to drink some bourbon while we're here.
We are.
Yeah. I hear you have some wild turkey.
Oh, we are.
Yes.
Yes. I happened to get this a couple of days ago.
Some Wild Turkey 101. One of my favorites. Personally, it's affordable. It's good. And, you know, it's 101 proof.
Yeah.
So gives you a nice little kick.
So let me ask you a question about bourbon.
Sure.
I'm not a bourbon enthusiast.
Okay.
In fact, if I drink bourbon, it's usually from the bottle.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we drink bourbon, I notice whenever I go to other people's house to have bourbon, they always have that bourbon and those glasses set up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the proper way to drink bourbon? Is with a normal, a whiskey glass, or I mean,
So
a shot glass in a bottle is good for me.
okay, I'm gonna tell you the proper, true, 100% proper way to drink bourbon. Okay, you ready for this?
Hit me with it.
However you like to drink it is the proper way to drink it. You'll see a lot of people like I've got one of these fancy glasses. This is good if you want to like kind of review bourbons like I do on the channel, because you can get a lot more of the smells and stuff out of it. But whether you're drinking it out of a regular glass, out of the bottle, mixed with Coke or ginger ale or whatever, however you like to drink it is the proper way in my book.
All right, so let me write that down. However you want to drink it.
That is tip number one. Yes.
Tip number one. Yeah, because my cousin is a huge whiner.
Okay.
Is that the proper term?
Like likes wine?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. A wino?
A wino, whatever.
Yeah.
No, and I remember we did taste testings and I tipped and went.
Yeah.
And apparently they were trying to kick me out of the place. I don't know. I don't know the etiquette of drinking wine. It's alcohol. I want to get drunk. Boom, there it is.
Right.
But apparently there's an etiquette. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't a proper etiquette for bourbon.
Hey, however you want to do it. I don't judge.
Good. Okay. Well, I went ahead and got a glass anyway.
Okay.
Just so I didn't look ridiculous tipping this up, but
right.
So whenever
the one thing I try to advise people if you know they want to kind of pick out more of the flavors and stuff, is to not shoot it, because you know if you're just shooting it, you're just shooting it, right? It's gonna be right. It's gonna be in and gone. But if you want to actually kind of sit back, pick out the different flavors, kind of experience it more, then that's where you're just going to sip on it a little bit more.
Okay, so
but if somebody wants to shoot it, they can shoot it.
Let's do it. I would like to do it properly, because even with the wine, I've never really had the opportunity or the notion or the I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, but anyway, to taste all the flavors in the wine or the bourbon. So
right.
I don't know how. So I mean, to me, it all tastes the same, but. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are subtle differences within the drink. Yeah, so I would like to maybe experience that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, pour yourself a glass.
Okay. You full all the way to the top?
Just fill the bottom up like two or three fingers worth.
Okay. I was hoping you'd say to the top, but I'll do this.
Well, we can just keep repouring if
okay, good point. Good point. Woo, that's got a strong smell to it too. Smell-o-vision. That's what we need, Willie.
Nice. So okay. So a lot of times what they tell you when you're smelling, keep your mouth open. So don't just like stick your nose in there and take a big whiff. Keep your mouth open and kind of breathe in as you're smelling it.
Oh wow, that's totally different.
Mm-hmm. What do you smell?
To me, it smells nutty.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. It's a revelation here.
I get some caramel too.
Yeah, okay. I smell the caramel. I taste the caramel. That's funny. Okay. I'm smelling it. Yeah. I'm tasting the caramel. Wow. That already my experience is way over expectations.
Yeah. And like wild turkey is a funny one because people tend to think of wild turkey as something you just drink to get drunk, right? Something that you would drink in college or whatever and just pound. But it's actually a really good quality bourbon, especially at a value price.
Right. I think that might be why, because I remember when I asked you what bourbon would be good for board game night. And you suggested Wild Turkey 101. I assume because A, it's good and it's got the great value to it.
Right.
Because board gamers are usually poor.
Hey, I'm right there with you. Anything else? So a little nutty, some caramel.
I
get some oakiness.
See, I don't know what I'm not sure if I can identify with oakiness.
So you've never like taken like licked the tree or anything?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm sure I have at one point,
Yeah.
but I don't recall it.
It's just like, think of like if you ever like gone into a wood shop or something like that, like
Good
that kind
point.
of smell.
Yes, that's absolutely amazing. I don't know if I would have smelt without the little hint there though. But now I smell it, and now that's all I can smell now is wood shop.
Nice. And I get a little bit of rye bread in there too.
Rye bread. Now, so is this made with rye?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're going to excuse my ignorance. I don't know anything about.
No, that's fine. I don't remember their exact recipe, or what they call it, a mash bill, but it's at least I think they're somewhere around 12 to 13% rye. The highest percentage is corn, and then they use malted barley as like the third grain. So that's all. It's just that and water is all this is.
Wow. So I can do this at home.
Yeah, I mean, it might be illegal, but you could. All right, I'm gonna take a drink.
So we just drink it?
Yep.
Interesting.
A lot of times when it's your first drink of the night, it's hard to pick up a lot of the flavors because you're just kind of shocking your system with the alcohol.
Right.
So that second sip is where you might get a lot more. But I always get like a spiciness up front with this, and then as it like mellows out, I get that caramel.
Okay, so like you just said, and before you even mentioned that, I realized there's a little spiciness like toward the top of my tongue here.
Yep.
And I also got that caramel back here.
Yep.
And actually, this doesn't taste anything like I would thought it would have. Do you think maybe that's because of the smell beforehand?
I think
I got my system.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps.
This is actually pretty neat. This is like that 11th grade experiment you're doing in science class, except not with alcohol, of course. Well, it depends on where you went.
That would have been a really cool teacher.
It was a cool class.
Yeah.
Now I think about it, that wasn't school. That was at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna take another sip.
Yeah, go for it.
Man. Now I see people put ice in this.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
A couple different reasons. Some people like it to be colder when they drink it, just to
okay.
Also, it will water it down a little bit. So if that, especially this at 101 proof, that can be pretty high to some people. So they might want to proof that down a little, because as that ice will melt, that proof point will come down a little bit. Just kind of water it down a little bit.
Okay.
And like I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I like to just drink it neat, like we're drinking it now, and other times if I'm going to be drinking a lot, if I know it's an afternoon where I'm going to have 4 or 5 pours, I'll drink it with ice just to kind of keep me from getting too to help hydrate.
Okay.
Keep me from going off the rails too much.
I noticed you used a few terms.
Okay.
And you used dry. Is that how you said that? You used or not dry. You said just without ice. Neat. Yeah, neat.
Yep.
So that's without.
Correct.
Ice.
So this is a neat pour. Yep.
Oh, okay. Now is that with all liquor? Is that like a term throughout the liquor community?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And then if you wanted with ice, you could always say with ice, but if you wanted to, like, if you're in a bar and you wanted ice, you'd just say on the rocks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm familiar with that one.
Yep.
I have watched a few 007s.
Right.
I assumed that's what they meant anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that I've had a couple sips in me, I want to drink the whole bottle. No, I'm just kidding. I actually smell or even taste that oak thing you're talking about.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I kind of get that oak on the sides of my tongue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's amazing how the taste profiles almost across the board.
Yeah, I mean everybody's gonna be able to pick up different things because a lot of it's from you based on your own experience. You know what you can relate to, whether it's foods or smells or whatever. But some of them are pretty similar across the board. But yeah, I get a little nuttiness too that we were smelling on this. I can't quite pick out like if it's. I don't think it's like a peanut nuttiness, but
no, I don't know if I would know my. I don't know my peanuts either. I mean, I couldn't tell you what nut. I just know a flavor. Right. I don't do a lot of stuff. I don't know a lot of stuff, so I don't. Nuts, alcohol, oak, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I officially brand you a bourbon drinker now.
Really?
You passed the test.
Do I get a crown?
Yeah.
I don't have anything.
You're gonna get a championship belt. It's in the mail.
Oh, okay, I'll take it.
You can throw it over your shoulder, stand on the top rope.
Just hold it up high. Bourbon. Yep. Wild Turkey 101 right there.
Bourbon 101 with Wild Turkey 101.
That is really to be honest with you, I've always shunned off the whiners, whatever the term is they use, because I always thought that was crazy. There's no way that stirring it, sniffing it, watching it fall off the glass made any sense. Yeah. I definitely didn't think it was possible with the drink. This is one of my drinks of choice when I go out is a bourbon. It's usually mixed with a little Coca-Cola, but I didn't think that smelling it and picking out all those flavors and then actually drinking it and tasting those flavors made any difference. But I'll tell you right now, this.
Yeah, and I could, if we had a couple of different bottles out, you'd be able to taste the differences between different brands, different recipes. It's crazy how different of a profile you can get from bourbon to bourbon, even though they're all essentially, they're all a whiskey, but they're all so different. It's pretty cool. That's what makes it a fun hobby.
I can think of two reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, this is good.
Cool. So you and I actually go all the way back to 1999, if you can believe that.
Wow, whoa. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I've known you since 1999. Now, in person, it was a short time, right? Because I think you live in Chillicothe, Ohio, or whereabouts, right?
Yeah.
I lived there. I only lived there, I think, about 8 or 9 months.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And but yeah, we worked at Godfather's Pizza together.
Oh, still the best pizza in the nation.
I miss it. Is it still open there?
It's not.
Oh, it's too bad.
It closed several years ago.
That was good pizza.
That was good pizza.
What about now? There's another iconic thing about Chillicothe, Ohio, that was one of my favorite places to go to, and that was Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme's still open.
Yeah, that'll be open long after the apocalypse ends.
So for people that aren't familiar with Chillicothe, Ohio, Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm not talking about Krispy Kreme nationwide with a K, crispy with a K, cream with a K. I'm talking Krispy Kreme donuts, Chillicothe, Ohio, with a C.
Right.
They had that name before Krispy Kreme with the K came around because they've been around since like the 1800s or something. They've been around forever.
Wow.
To this day, the best donuts I've ever had in my entire life.
Agreed. I haven't had one that's been even close.
Anytime I like run into somebody that lives down in that area, I'll be like, Krispy Kreme donuts, and they'll be like, oh yeah. Or they'll be like, wait, what? I'm like, no, you have to get Krispy Kreme donuts.
Right. Yeah. I think we're known for donuts and outdoor dramas.
Yeah, Tecumseh, right?
Yeah. The Great Shawnee Chief.
I never got a chance to go to that when I lived down there. Have you been to that?
We go there once a year.
Do you really?
Let me back up and rephrase that. I used to go once a year until the little girl's been born.
Okay, so you haven't taken your daughter there yet?
Oh, no, I won't take her there. Not until she's maybe 5 or 6, because there's a lot of gunfire. It'll scare. It scares me. So I've fortunately been to it enough to know when they're going to shoot the guns. So
Nice.
I'm ahead of the game, but I think she'd freak out.
Okay.
At this age now, 5 and 6. I think that's when I first went, was when I was 5 or 6. I remember being scared.
Yeah. So that was something that like your parents took you to every year?
Yeah, that was like our yearly Kings Island or Disney World, depending on where you live in the world. That was our trip. It was
cool. And
it was only 15 minutes from our house. So
right.
I think they just drove around for an hour to confuse us.
Nice. Yeah, like that's something definitely when Max is, old enough that I would love to take him to. But I feel like that'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, especially being little, under 1, it wouldn't matter because I don't know if they would even remember the experience.
Yeah.
Just like I was telling my wife, she wants to take the little one to Disney World, and I personally feel that taking them anywhere like that with such a huge experience that could be gained is going to be lost from their age. And it's not going to be worth the money. Wait till she can experience it and enjoy it and remember it for the rest of her life. And we've agreed upon maybe going next year when she's closer to 5, because I believe 5 is that age when you start really comprehending and remembering things.
Right.
I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor. I don't know if that's fact. But personally, I remember things when I was 5.
Right. Yeah, I can remember that those like kindergarten 5-year-old years.
Yes.
A lot more than anything before that.
But anything before that. I can't remember nothing before that, to be honest with you. I don't even know if I was alive until I was 5.
Right.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, because we have up near me, we have Cedar Point. Like, you're closer to Kings Island. Have you ever been to Cedar Point?
Yes, I have. I was there 8 years ago. No. Holy crap. About 12 years ago now.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to take Max to Cedar Point this summer, but I mean, he's not going to remember it at all. But he gets in free, so it's not a big deal.
True. And you're probably going more for you
right.
guys. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
but it's different. Sorry.
It'll be fun to get. No, that's fine. It'll be fun to get him. There's probably only a couple of things he'll be able to get on at that point, but it'll be fun just to kind of do that, and at least we'll have the memories. He probably won't, but we'll have the memories.
Right. That's the other part of that, is if you want those memories, that's the other thing. I personally don't want to spend the money, $8,000 on a Walt Disney trip that only I remember, because I can watch a Walt Disney movie and be satisfied.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can go really fast in my truck. Save some money. You know what I mean? I'm not at that age where that stuff's important.
Right. I feel you.
If you hit 5, buddy, I'm going to be on every single ride I can. And I don't do rides. Especially at my age. When I was in Cedar Point, at 12, 14 years ago, I remember. Very first ride we rode was the Raptor.
Okay.
I went with the elderly people to all the shows inside. Right after that.
Wow. See, I still like the rides, except for some of them now that I'm older. sometimes you get off those rides and like you feel like you just broke your neck.
Yeah.
They jerk you around so much. Plus, like the seats are so small, and you're like just cramped in there, and you're just like, oh, this is you're supposed to be having fun, but you're like in pain the whole time because everything's so like tight on you.
Yeah. How do you have fun like that? I don't know.
Right. It's funny though, because when the first time we took a trip after Max was born, it was like the first time we left him overnight. He was only like 3 months old. But we went down to Hocking Hills area in Ohio, and we went ziplining.
Oh,
I've been ziplining before, loved it. I've went skydiving before, had a great time.
Oh, wow.
But I think it was something about now, like that I had a kid in this world. I was terrified the entire time. Like I was from the moment I went up on that first zip, I was like trembling. I was afraid.
Yeah.
I'd never like been like that before. And I think it's because now it's like it's not just me anymore. It's if I go, something bad happens to me. Before it's like whatever. People will be sad, but
well, maybe.
If something bad happens to me now, like my kid won't have a dad. So
right.
It's a different perspective.
It's called the dad syndrome. I just termed that, by the way. I coined that term.
Write
it down. Because basically what it means is everything you used to do, there you go. Everything you used to do, because now that you're a dad or a father, it kind of has a different meaning or a different feeling to do it. And that's one of them. My wife calls me a helicopter dad.
Okay.
Because whenever the little girl climbs on a stool, I take her down. And it could be a 1.5 foot stool. I don't care. I'm just very protective. I don't know if that's because she's a girl or if.
I was just going to ask you that. Yeah.
I don't know. Because I don't have a boy, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm very protective. Before, if I saw a little kid climbing on that, I'd be rooting it on. Go higher.
Right.
Now I'm right there, and I think that's part of the dad syndrome. And you fear not only for yourself or for your wife, but you also fear for the little one.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Max is at the point now where he walks pretty well, but he's not great. But he's fearless, so he'll practically almost try to run, but like he'll get to a point where he'll trip over something because he's not paying attention, obviously, or he just loses his balance. And I mean, this kid just gets bruised up left and right, and I'm like, I feel so bad sometimes, but
you gotta let him do it, I guess.
Yeah.
So I try not to let her get bruised up, and I think that's probably a bad thing.
Yeah,
you gotta learn how to take her falls.
Yeah,
but I got that. I'm just not that kind of person. I used to be, like I said, I used to be, but not anymore. I'm super protective, and I'll admit it. I'll admit it. I'm super protective, but again, like I said, it could be because she's female or a little girl. I don't know, but
that would be interesting to see kind of the difference in if that would change between having a boy and a girl. So I feel like there might be some type of a, if you have a little boy, it's like, just dust it off. You're fine.
Get stronger. Yeah. I think you're right. I've always sit and wondered that myself, and I won't ever find out because one and done here.
Nice.
So
that's our plan as well. We haven't officially made sure to taken the step to make sure that's the case, but that's our plan.
That's a permanent decision.
Nice.
I guess technically it isn't, but see, it costs. Well, I'm just going to put it in little terms. It costs $1 to get her done, and it costs 6,000 of these to get it undone. So I think that's why it's. They ask you 3 or 4 times in the doctor's office if you're sure.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like I didn't like the baby stage. I don't know how you felt about it.
Okay.
The first 6 months was probably some of the worst 6 months that I've ever experienced.
See, we I think we've gotten super lucky. I'd say the first 6 weeks were pretty rough, but after that, he's been a pretty easy baby. So
Okay.
like I've actually enjoyed the baby stage, but I'm not looking to go back to it either.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I like my sleep,
Yeah.
and I didn't get any for a long time. Now, I'm not saying my wife made me get up with the baby. I'm a worrywart. So if I heard her move around, I didn't sleep.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was more of a, what was that noise? You know, is she all right? Does she need a
Right.
bottle? Does she need some medicine? I don't know.
Right.
That was the part I hated because they can't talk. You don't know
Right.
what they want. And you're guessing. You're like, are you hungry? Well, here's some food. Okay, that didn't work. Here's some water. Okay, here's some milk. Here's a toy. You know,
Yeah.
and then it's process of elimination with the littles. Now she can talk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving it
Nice.
because now I know what she wants. So we can go play. And something else that I do that I've heard that we shouldn't do, or a lot of parents think bad about it, is I play with her. Like she wants to play Barbies.
Mm-hmm.
Which Barbie do I play with? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers actually said that basically playing is what kids do. That's how they develop.
Sure.
I don't remember the exact words he used, but he was kind of almost saying, you know, let the kids play what they do. Don't get involved in that part of their life. But man, I like playing.
Yeah.
So it's hard not to.
I guess I do both. Like Max is really good at playing with him, like playing by himself. He'll keep himself occupied. He'll go from toy to toy, have a grand time. But he also seems to enjoy it when I get down on the floor and play along with him. So yeah, I do a little bit of both.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of interesting that some people say maybe you shouldn't. Because I feel like being active and involved is like part of being part of their lives,
Yeah, that's how I look at it. And no one's going to tell me any different.
Sure.
But I enjoy doing it, and I know that some way I'm teaching her something in there. I don't know what, but
Right.
There's something in there I'm teaching her, maybe counting or something. I don't know, but to me, I want her to grow up and have her own imagination.
Yeah.
And by me playing with her, I think it's kind of helping her develop a imagination.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when I grew up, I played by myself a lot. I remember being out in the woods for hours just playing. Whether or not I was Tarzan or G.I. Joe, I was doing something. I think that helped me in my creativity process.
Yeah.
So everything you see on my channel, all the artwork, I didn't draw it, but those are my concepts.
Right.
So I've got this universe that I've created for the Game Cave.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I would have had that if I wouldn't have played with myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
I didn't have the opportunity.
I get you. Did you have siblings growing up?
I did. I had a younger sister, and just like all siblings, we did things together for this amount of time, and then this amount of time we didn't. So
okay.
Yeah.
Were you guys close in age or?
Yeah, we're only a year apart.
Oh, okay.
So we got to do a lot of stuff together, but there was that point where we just kind of split off and then did our own thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I blossomed out, if that
right.
if that was even possible.
Right. Yeah.
We don't know if I really blossomed.
I have two older siblings, and it's like 5 and 7 years apart. So, like, I didn't necessarily. By the time I was like kind of playing a lot, they were older and doing their own things. So, not like we didn't have we would do stuff together, like you said. But I was kind of playing by myself a lot more, than playing with them.
Right.
And so I wonder if like kind of what planning on only having one child, like kind of what that's going to be like with with Max and for you with Emerson, like without having that kind of sibling in house to
Right.
either pick on or be picked on by and all that fun stuff.
So the one thing that I've learned, and I'm not going to throw out advice because I don't think I'm the one to give advice.
All right.
But from what I've seen with mine, because kids are they're like a snowflake. They're different. Every family's different. We have our own different ideologies on how we need to raise them and stuff like that. But the particular point you brought up was how they're gonna be with just a single sibling in the house. I have noticed that, and I've always wondered every time I'm sitting down watching her play, how would she interact with another sibling? How would she have played? Would she do things differently? We're not going to know. That's part of life.
Right.
But one thing that I do like to do is I don't want her to be not socialized. So she's not going to be in the house 24/7 until she's 18. That's cruel.
Right.
I think they did that in the Jungle Book in a form.
Yeah.
But the one thing to do is get them socialized to go make friends. We have in Chillicothe here, we have a Mighty's Kids Museum. And you probably have one up where you live somewhere, probably in the area. Those are fun. I go and I enjoy myself at them. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. And then
like a COSI or something like that?
Yeah, but it's kind of it's a condensed version of Coast Slide, but it's it's just a playground. That's all it is, really. It's a playground. They got learning things in there, so they can learn while they play. But take them to those, because I've noticed even though she ain't got a sibling, she has no problem with going up to people and trying to make friends.
Okay.
So I think that's instinctive.
Yeah. So
I don't think there's anything to worry about there. But as long as you're getting them out to socialize them, it's going to kill two birds with one stone. It's going to get them. You're going to get them know how to act in public, and they're going to be able to socialize with other kids their age. So it kills two birds with one stone, in my opinion. Libraries, take them to the library.
Yeah.
I think my little girl would rather read a book. She can't read. She tries. I think she'd rather read a book than watch Blippi on YouTube. And if you're not familiar with Blippi, you will be.
I'm not.
Oh yeah, you will be.
No. Is it what? So is it terrible?
Blippi's not bad. He can get very annoying.
All right.
But he's not bad. Now there's one on YouTube, and I totally shut him down, and that's Ryan Toys Review.
Okay, yeah.
Shut it down before it starts.
I've only watched like one or two of those videos, so
that I don't like to get into. I think we got into it on one of our podcasts, but do not start it because it's hard to get rid of, and it's actually a bad influence.
I was at the store the other day, and like that kid has his own cereal. No,
he has his own toy line, his own cereal, his own bed clothing. He's got all kind of merchandise.
Hey,
and that's part of the problem.
Good. Well, I mean, good for him.
Well, I mean, I kudos to his success, but how he gets it, I mean, let's put it like this: he's entitled, and I think he teaches people that you should get something on a daily basis. That's what I pick up on every video: is he's getting something. And if my little girl's sitting there watching it, and it happened for weeks at a time. Every time I come home, she asks what I brought her home. And it's like, we're going to cut it off, cut the Ryan off.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So, but Blippi is more educational. He doesn't bring people home. He doesn't bring things home. I feel bad for him, though, with that new YouTube policy. I don't know how many things didn't get monetized on his channel.
Oh, man. That's been killing a lot of those content creators.
Yeah, I don't feel sorry for him. Does that mean?
No.
I mean, because in a way they're kind of, I don't think they intentionally were trying it, but I think they're exploiting the fact that when a kid's watching a video on a tablet, they keep doing this. Push, view, money. And I think I don't feel sorry for him at all.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah. I was a little bit worried when all that info first came out because my channel isn't geared towards kids.
Right.
It's more geared towards parents. especially since half of it's about bourbon. But
Right.
but some of the wording they used in that was really vague, where they're like, if you have like children on your channel, like that could potentially be a strike, and they'll do that. And I'm like, well, Max is in half of my videos, so like,
Right.
and I don't want to mark my videos as meant for kids. Not only, I mean, I'm not monetized now as it is, but not only because if I'm
Right.
monetized, it won't be monetized, but because it's not meant for kids. But
True.
I don't want YouTube to come in and, say it is or what, you know what I mean? It's just kind of a weird blurred line there in some aspects, but everything's been fine so far. So
far so good. That's all that matters.
yeah.
So let me mention this real quick because I actually like it. I like the name of the channel.
Oh, all right.
So I don't know. Did you come up with that?
Yeah. So for a long time before my wife was pregnant with Max, I had been wanting to start doing bourbon reviews on YouTube, or some type of bourbon related channel. And I'm a huge procrastinator just by nature. And so I always called myself an idea guy. Like I would have the idea and I would think about it and I would plan it out and I would do all these things, but then I would just never do it. Right.
Yeah,
that's what I was doing basically with my bourbon YouTube channel that I never started. But then once Rose got pregnant, I'm like, well, I probably won't be able to do that YouTube channel now. And then like I just kept thinking, and I'm like, wait, what if I could somehow like combine these two things? Like, because I'm going to be experiencing fatherhood for the first time. So I'm a new dad, and I'm old. For most new dads are like in their young 20s. I'm almost 40, so like I feel like I have a little bit of a different perspective. And then like I was looking through YouTube and I didn't see a lot of dad centric YouTube channels out there. There's a couple, but when anything that has to do with parenting, it's like 90% from the mom's perspective.
Okay.
So like this is kind of a cool opportunity to try to put both worlds together. And so then it just kind of came to me with bourbon and a baby, just like clicked one day. Like it just happened. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. So
bourbon and a baby.
So then the next thing I had to do was my cousin is a graphic designer, and I'm like, I need to actually follow through with this because this is a great idea. So I got a hold of him, and I didn't have any idea of what I wanted the logo to look like, but I needed to have a logo before just to make it official. So like once he like spent his own time and didn't charge me money to create this like awesome logo, I'm like, I can't not do it now. Like this
right.
Like it's happening. It made me take that next step and actually do it. So yeah, that's just kind of how that all together.
That's pretty interesting. I like it.
Yeah. So you have your channel, the Game Cave. What like kind of made you want to do like kind of put that out there, and like I know you said you like to like educate people about games, but like have you always kind of wanted to be like a content creator of some sorts? Is that
no. I honestly I've always thought I was gonna be famous.
Yeah.
You
have I've known you for a long, like I said, I've known you for a long time, and you have that personality for it.
Yeah, I thought because I did when we knew each other, I did wrestling, independent wrestling, and that kind of spilled over to our relationship there for a little while. But I've always got that idea. I'm like you. I'm the idea man, but my ideas always go to the extreme level. So I've got this idea. I thought, well, if I be a professional wrestler, I'll be famous and make tons of cash. And that's always been my kind of MO with everything I do. And then what got me interested in YouTube wasn't fame. It was now I could pretend to be famous.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I may never be famous, but when I'm sitting in front of the camera as far as I'm concerned, I'm famous.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a win-win for me. It's a moral victory.
Yeah.
But yes, that's how I never really intended to be a content creator on YouTube. And in fact, right now I've only got, I don't even know how many videos I've got, because during our move process, I had to stop filming. And before that, I was on a roll. I did like 6 or 7 videos, and then, hey, we got to move. Crap. Pack. And then I didn't do it again for many, many months. Starting in March, I've got videos lined up to start being released on YouTube again. So we're going to start back up in March. But I tried podcasting, which we haven't officially quit podcasting, but we slowed down a little bit due to a schedule conflicts and stuff like that. So once we get back up there, I'm going to talk to my partner, my co-host and hopefully we can work something out. I work until 1 a.m. Who's up at 1 a.m.?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's hard. Well, we can do it beforehand because he works at home. He's a graphic designer as well, works from home. We can do it beforehand. Who wants to go in and do that before you go to work? So I'm kind of torn between schedules. And of course, on the weekend, I got the little girl. I play with her all weekend. It's kind of hard to get me away from that. So conflict of not interest, but schedule conflict is the big killer in a podcast. Now, there is something, and I thought about doing is there's a program, and I'm sure everybody's heard of it, Discord. We can actually do our podcast on there. So I'm thinking that maybe I don't have to go to his house anymore to do the podcast. So that may be the solution to our problem. But I don't know. I would like to do it because the Tabletop Warriors, it gained some pretty good stats there. For probably a half a year, we was doing very, very well as far as stats.
It's a really good podcast. You guys talked about all kinds of random stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of it like nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
But it just was awesome to listen. And I don't know if like the name might throw people off because I've never been a big board game person.
Right.
So when I listened to like the first episode or whatever, I was a little bit worried that I wasn't going to get into it because it was going to be mostly about game like that.
Right.
But you guys talk about all kinds of random stuff, and like you guys have just fun conversations. And it, for me as a listener, when I listen to you guys' podcast, I feel like I'm just like shooting the breeze with you guys. Like sometimes I'll even like talk and like I'm talking to the both of you as you guys are going, and I'm like, oh wait, they can't hear me.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea behind that was the podcast is called the Tabletop Warrior Show. And like you said, it probably throws a lot of people off because it's when you talk about games, you talk about tabletop games. And that's actually how that originally came out, was we was going to talk why we played board games. Because some of our conversations that we had when we talked about board games was off the chart. It was crazy stuff. The idea popped in my head. Hey, let's record this, and this is going to be funny. It may be just funny to us, but who knows?
Right.
But we took that out. We took the board game section out and just made it a conversation like we were at the board game table.
Yeah. And
the whole idea behind that was to interact with each other as if you were there, or if anybody that was listening could chime in. In fact, like you, we've got an acquaintance of both of us that have told us that they have screamed at us before. We were saying something wrong. And if you listen to the show, Tabletop Warrior Show, plug it on I think where are we at? Podbean? I don't remember. Anyway, I'm sure you can list it somewhere. But
I'll put a link to it in the description.
You can list to it there. But we don't check fact, or is that right? Fact checks. Yeah, we don't do that. So we talk. People get angry at us because we're making up facts, and it's just because they're the conversations we would have around the table. We could argue about it. It doesn't really matter because it's irrelevant.
Right.
But it's fun. It's absolutely fun. We just had a guest on, Joe Parker. He's actually a good buddy of ours. He made us this superhero bracket.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've listened to that episode yet or not, but you can actually get online and vote for the superhero you think would win against these two. And of course, it's me and Joe versus Jared because Jared's a DC fan off the hook. And we hate DC, but come to find out, though, in the bracket, it's 50-50 for me. Right now, I got 50% DC and 50% Marvel. But that's like one of those old things we like to do. It's one of the he listens to the show constantly. He made us this nice little bracket. We had him on the show to talk about it, and real fun. It's real fun.
That's cool.
Hopefully, we can fire it back up.
I don't think you've done it lately, but one of the things you did early on in the podcast was you would drink these drinks that were completely ridiculous. Like, wasn't one like a ranch dressing soda?
Ranch dressing soda, yes.
Yeah. So, what are some of the other ones you guys drank on there?
So we drunk ranch dressing, which you mentioned. We drank Buffalo Wild Wing, corn on the cob, pickle, pimple popping.
Gross.
Oh no, that one's actually good.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't let the names fool you. That was really good. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Pirate's Piss, something Bloody Mary, or something like that. We got a whole list of them that we drank. We would put those up for a vote. People would vote for the drink that we would drink. Now, we still have over 30 bottles. And when we fired up season 2, we was deciding on what segments to keep, and we kind of took that one out.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we didn't enjoy it. We didn't get a lot of hits on those episodes.
Yeah.
So we kind of watching our numbers and stuff like that. We just felt that people wasn't enjoying it as much over the radio. Now, if we did a live version of this, I think it would go off the charts. But that's something there's no way we could, especially with the schedule we're trying to keep now. It's hard to do. But yeah, so what was that called? That segment was called "What the Heck Are You Drinking?" or something like that.
Yeah. So if you took from all of those that you drank, which one do you think would pair best with this Wild Turkey 101? Like, if you were gonna mix Wild Turkey 101 and one of those, which one would you mix it with?
Well, okay, so two schools of thought here. The first one would be ranch dressing because you would have to make it better.
Okay.
So, yeah. The second one would be there was one. I don't know the name of it. I'd have to actually go back and look, but it was a fruity flavor. It was like a raspberry flavor.
Okay.
I think putting some sort of a berry flavor in that would probably be pretty decent.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I have to check. Plus, it was also carbonated. I don't know. I know we drink Coke and ginger ale, which is carbonated, but I don't know how fruity flavors would go with that. I don't know. Maybe it would go good.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, ranch dressing for sure. Because I honestly don't think there's any hope to make it better.
Just like, as much as like ranch dressing is good, to dip different stuff, to drink it as a soda just sounds absolutely disgusting.
It was. And don't be fooled. It tastes nothing like ranch dressing. Absolutely nothing. In fact, Jared described it best by drinking dirty dishwater. That's what it tastes.
Gross.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would want to ruin my Wild Turkey 101 with dirty dishwater.
No, you're right. It would be not worth it at all.
Yeah. So like I said, I'll put a link to that podcast in the description of this, because I think people would enjoy it. It's a really, really fun to listen to.
Tell them to skip the first 7 episodes. Those are horrible.
Okay. Start at episode 8.
Yes.
All good. You guys, another thing, like I said, you guys have like kind of a lot of like it's not even really considered nerdy anymore by today's standards, but you had like a lot of, talk about pop culture stuff, whether it be movies or comic books or TV shows or whatever. Has there been like anything in pop culture that's maybe affected or influenced how you are as a dad to your daughter?
Yeah, I would say probably a lot of things. So one of the big things in the last 10 years has been the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the one thing, but before, I don't know, I would say it's been longer than 10 years, but maybe even 20 years ago, reading a comic book, you got looked at sideways, like,
Right.
this guy's a total nerd. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah.
Now it's, if you don't do it, you're a total nerd. So
Right.
it's kind of like with her, it's, I try to instill that you just like whatever you like and don't really care what people think about it. So if you like something, just go for it. That's how I did it when I was little. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of my friends were DC fans. I'm a Marvel fan.
Right.
That's how it worked out. But yeah, I would say probably the Marvel Universe, Star Wars. She watched Star Wars with me one time. I don't know if she enjoyed it. She
Yeah.
watched it.
Right.
That kind of stuff influences. And of course, my board game hobby, you didn't, if you didn't, or if you wasn't playing Monopoly, you wasn't cool.
Yeah.
Now Monopoly is at the bottom of the food chain when it comes to board games.
Right.
So she don't play with me right now because she likes to mess with my pieces and bend my cards.
Okay.
That's a big no-no. But I do that skull that's right here. It's got about 300 dice around it.
Okay.
And I'll let her roll dice. You know, just for practice for later on in life. You know how random dice are. So,
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that there's been a lot of influence, and I know for Jared, I don't want to speak for Jared, but I'm sure that there's tons because Jared's collection of toys is something off of a Netflix special. He's got so many toys. In fact, we keep talking about doing a video of his toy room.
Yeah.
And if once that goes up, once we actually get the procrastination out and we get that video up, you will be amazed at the toy collection this guy has. So definitely influences his little one for sure, as far as like the pulp culture. And I know pulp culture stands for popularity, what's popular now, but what I think we actually discussed this on one of the podcasts is I have a different term for pop culture, and it's pop culture is just something that you think is popular, what you like that is popular now.
Okay.
Or it could even be popular then, because we talk a lot about the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Those are the years we grow up, right?
Killer He-Man shirt, by the way.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I wore this specifically for the show. Now, normally I would be in a cape. So this is an exclusive look at the game cave. But yeah, I wore this specifically for the show because this is kind of like, I'm 42, but this represents like my personality, Right. I love toys. I love cartoons and stuff like that. Yeah. So He-Man, I actually bought Jared the Skeletor.
Nice.
So we wear them out because we're crazy, cool. I guess.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I think back to like I pay more attention now to how they like portray, especially dads on TV, like or movies or whatever. Because like I was actually just watching a couple episodes of The Wonder Years the other day.
Oh wow!
And like a lot of times TV dads tend to be either like really goofy,
right?
Like almost like Bryan Cranston and Malcolm in the Middle type,
right? Full House.
Yeah. But I thought Kevin's dad, even though he was definitely like that, an old school dad, I thought his portrayal was like a pretty cool portrayal of a dad on TV. Like I liked that. It was because he.
Sorry. That was supposed to be on mute.
But yeah, I was impressed with because like he kind of he has kind of like that. Kevin's definitely like kind of afraid of him,
right, right.
But they also show kind of like a more gentle side to him, or like and for the time period, I thought that was pretty interesting because usually it was an 80s show, but it was like from the 60s perspective.
Right, right. So
yeah,
they nailed that on the head when it came to how dads probably were portrayed back in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
Versus the sitcom version of the dad. Yeah.
Right.
The sitcom version of dad, I think, is a little over the top. I grew up in the 80s. I don't remember my dad being sitcom-y funny like that.
Right.
But what it makes for good TV, I guess.
True. Very true. What, like, so you're almost 3.5 years into this, dad thing. What do I have to look forward to? I'm only a year in. What advice do you have for the next couple of years?
Well, like I said, I don't like giving advice, but I can tell you what to look forward to. Right now, she's in a stage. They're called the terrible twos, but they don't get them when they're 2.
Okay.
They get them when they're 3.
All right.
So it's obvious that the kids are experimenting and the kids are seeing how far they can push the boundaries, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to push the boundaries. I don't know how much of a disciplinary you have to be to stop it, but I don't think there's really a stop process. I think it's a kid doing what kids are meant to do. They're going to disobey. They're just learning is what they're doing.
Sure.
And that's kind of the mindset you got to keep yourself in, is that no matter what happens, they're just learning, and if they're just learning, they're doing something wrong, then that's when you step in to teach them the right way. And that's kind of the only advice that I can give.
Okay.
She's at that stage where we're having to scold her quite a bit daily.
Yeah.
But I think it's a learning process, not only for her, but for us as well. So the only bad thing about it is normally when you learn something, you're learning something for an experience later in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we're not having any more kids. So me learning something new, I don't want to put anything else in his brain.
Right.
But it's as long as I understand, or as long as she understands, as long as I understand that we're doing it for a learning process, then I think everything will be all honky dory.
Yeah.
But just keep in mind, no matter how bad they get, it's a learning process. Just keep that in mind.
That's like one of the things, because I haven't really had to, Max is a little too young yet for the whole like discipline thing.
Right.
To truly understand, doing something wrong or whatever. So that's the thing I don't necessarily want to say worry about, but that I don't know. I don't have a disciplined style in mind for, how, what I mean? Like, so I think that'll be a lot of just kind of
trial and error.
Fake it till I make it. Yeah. Trial and error.
Well, yeah. Because I grew up in a very, diverse disciplinary. Like, I don't think I was never beat. I was never really smacked. I did get whippings, don't get me wrong, but it was never really horribly bad. I did get grounded a lot, and I think that was the worst. But I think as far as a style goes, I think it's going to be one of those things, like you said, you're going to develop as you go. Just keep that in mind. That I always tell my wife, she's one of those people that wears her emotions right here.
Yeah.
And they're very, very sensitive.
Yeah.
And whenever she does something wrong or she's disobeying, she takes it personally. And I try to convey that I don't think it's personal. It's just it's a learning process the kid's going to go through. She's going to do it. We just got to figure out how to teach her not to do it without being like I'm not pro spanking. I'm not pro not spanking. I think the situation calls for certain situations, but
Yeah.
Right now I haven't. I have had to whip her, and it was just more of a love tap than a tipping.
Mm-hmm.
But you remember that old saying? I don't know if your parents ever said it to you, but this is going to hurt me more than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand where that comes from now.
Yeah.
Because after I whipped her, I was pretty emotional for a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah, that's because and that's the thing. Like, you don't want your kid to be like that bratty kid that doesn't follow rules or whatever.
Right.
So you have to have some type of I think some type of a strong discipline. But yeah, I also don't want to be over the top with it and have your kid walking on eggshells around you all the time. Like finding that balance.
I've seen both ways. It's not good.
Yeah. So I was when I saw the newest Star Wars, what was the last one? Return of Skywalker. Yeah. So say what you want about the new Star Wars movies. I'm still excited to go see them. Whether or not they're as good as they should be. But so my wife's not into Star Wars at all. Went to the movie by myself. Which I actually enjoy doing. I totally don't mind going to the movies by myself. But there were 3 kids, I'd say maybe around somewhere between 6th, 7th grade age in the theater. And they were on their phones. The one kid was up and down the aisle, like walking up and down like in front of me, like 3 or 4 times. They were loud. And it just totally, because when I go to a movie at the theater, like that's an experience for me. Like you kind of lose yourself in the experience. But when people are bringing you out of that experience, like it just completely ruined the whole movie for me. So I vow to this day that will never be, Max will never be that kid in the movie theater walking up and down the aisles. That's like my biggest goal as a parent right now, is that to make sure Max is not that kid.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think a lot of that stems, though. I don't think, no matter how good of a parenting skill you have, if you're a grandmaster parenter, there's always going to be that social influence. And I don't think there's any. I think there is a way to convey morals and ethics into them. But I also don't. I think that's going to be contradicted by their social environment. So it really stems off of the people they're hanging out with, and if they've got the same moral ethics as right. So I really don't think there's any way. I bet you the kid that was up walking around is probably the most behaved kid there is.
Yeah.
But because he was with 2 friends that aren't, he probably. So I kind of like you. If I go to a place and there's kids acting up, so like I try my hardest not to get angry, because I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe it's just because of his social surroundings.
Yeah.
So I always try to keep that in mind before I get super angry at a kid.
I was so close to. I'm like, what do I do? Should I? I'm not going to yell at somebody else's. And plus, they were older kids anyway. I'm not going to yell at them. But like, should I like go tell on them? Like what?
Right. No,
then I have to get up and leave. Like, so I just sat there and got mad the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to bite the bullet, I guess.
Yeah. So we mentioned that you live around Chillicothe.
Yeah.
And besides either Krispy Kreme donuts or outdoor dramas, there's one negative thing that people might know about Chillicothe. If somebody that lives like in another state, they're like, I've heard that name, Chillicothe, Ohio, before. There was a string a few years ago of like murders that happened in Chillicothe.
Yeah. A little town, Chillicothe. I think now I might be thinking too deep here, but I'm thinking that now I haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure if you go back and look through like public records, that's probably about average. I'm just guessing. I'm not this. Like I said, I haven't. But now with social media and all that, things are a little quicker to be getting out and a little bit more known.
Yeah.
Now that I think that's the problem. I don't think that we're in a myrtle capital of the world like Santa Carla, Lost Boys. I always like getting a Lost Boys reference in there.
Such a great movie.
Oh no, got the big old poster over here on my wall.
Nice.
I don't think it's that. I just think it's now, and I think it's anywhere. I think the drugs have always been in Chillicothe, but again, with the social media, it's increased in level of how much you know about it. Sure. I think it's all about what you know, what you hear, versus or what you used to hear and what you hear now.
Did they ever find because I think it made national news because it was thought to be possibly a serial killer.
Yeah.
Did they ever
I don't think so.
anything? No. But
are you talking about the disappearing women?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't keep up with current events. But I don't think they found anybody. I don't think, and those that they're still missing.
But it hasn't happened in a while. It's been a few years.
It hasn't happened in a while. I think you're hearing more now about abductions and sex trafficking. That's still happening around here. So, but that's happening all around.
Yeah, it's big just north of where I live too, in Toledo. So
so
it's scary. Does that do you think of any like outside stuff like that now as a dad? Like, does anything like that kind of like freak you out or?
Yeah, but here's the thing: I try not to dwell on it.
Yeah,
because every time I think about it, every time I see a post, I rage like internally. So I know not to dwell on it because then I would get nothing done.
Right.
You worry about it, but it's something you just can't like. Oh, where you going? You going to the store? I'm going with you. Where's your mates? You got your handgun on you? Whatever.
Right. And it's weird because like I don't want to be. You called yourself a helicopter parent earlier. I don't necessarily want to be like that helicopter parent to where, I can't let Max ride his bike around the block, without me being there. But it's definitely different than I think from when we grew up.
Oh yeah.
When I grew up, I would get on my bike and I would be gone for 3 or 4 hours halfway across town. Like you always knew when you had to be home by, but didn't have a cell phone you were just gone for 3 or 4 hours at a time,
I think that's where the young kids don't understand is we didn't have communication like we have now. We had the light post. When it went on, you got home.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you're worried like that. Yeah, I don't.
It's like I want to be able to, like, when he's old enough, obviously, give him that same level of freedom. But I don't know. I don't know if like that's even possible anymore. Like,
I don't think it is. I think times have changed, and I think that's part of the solution to the problem is that we have to adapt to the situations that are around us now. So, we're back when we was little, we could do whatever we wanted. We could leave the door unlocked at night. Where now we've got to adapt to lock the doors, check them twice before we go to. So it's just times. It's just adaptation.
Yeah. Cool. Man, I think I'm kind of coming to the end of what I wanted to talk to you about. Anything you wanna add or throw in there?
I don't think so. I think I pretty much gave my spill there as far as parenting. Like I said, I don't give advice.
Yeah,
I just can't do it. I don't feel like I'm qualified. But the only thing I can do is give you experience from my point of view.
Sure.
It's like interpreting a good book. I may look at, let's look at it like this.
Yeah.
We interpret these two different ways, and we're going to do the same thing in parenting. So,
and
hopefully, I'm not going to use this as an analogy of how kids taste, but hopefully they turn out the same.
Yeah, right. I had a thought, and it completely like vanished.
I hate when that happens.
The bourbon works sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Tell people again where they can find you on YouTube and wherever else you might be.
Well, so the easiest way to find me on YouTube, because I don't have the 100 subscribers, so I don't have my own URL. And if you type in the Game Cave, you're going to scroll through about 300 people. So the easiest way to do it is like to put a link.
Mm-hmm.
Just go down for the link section and click on that, and it'll be right there. You can search for me, but like I said, you'll be searching for a while because I don't have that. I'm not at that 100 subscriber yet where I got that Game Cave title.
Go subscribe. I'll put the link down here. Go check them out.
Yeah, you can do that. You can find me on Twitter at TTW_board games. And that's probably the best place to find me. TTW_board games. So if you want to find out what we're doing there, that's the easiest way to find me, really. I might actually start streaming on this StreamYard.
Yeah, it's pretty user friendly, pretty cool.
I like this.
Yeah. And we'll have to do this over on your channel one of these days.
Yeah, so I'd like to invite you over to play a board game. I know you're not big into board games, but this might be your what do you call that? Bourbon. That's all I'm saying.
This will get me into it.
This will definitely be the way into board games.
Yes. Can I drink bourbon while we're playing the board game?
And I'm going to encourage it because I think I'm going to start drinking. I may lose more, but
right.
It's all about having fun.
Excellent. All right. Well, Dave, again, appreciate you being on. Everybody go check him out. He's doing some great stuff. So cheers, buddy.
Cheers.